Now hear this on Fox Sports 97.5.
Welcome back to Now Hear This, and I should say welcome back to one of our guests now joining me in studio, because it's a pleasure to have him back in to talk about a great organization here in Indianapolis that is closing in on 30 years serving Central Indiana. It's known as Indianapolis Neighborhood Housing Partnerships, or INHP for short, and Rob Evans is the Chief Operating Officer and Executive Vice President for the organization. He's joined in studio by Will Scherb. We'll talk about some of the new things going on with INHP. I shouldn't say new, but just in terms of letting everybody know about what they are doing. But first up, let me say to both you gentlemen, good morning to you. Good to see you both.
Good morning. Good morning.
Rob, I'll begin with you, actually. In terms of INHP, we've talked about this before, but for those folks that are unfamiliar, let's kind of reset what it is that came about kind of as a collective effort of civic leaders and the mayor of Indianapolis, Bill Hudnut, back in 1988, just in terms of making sure that all neighborhoods in Indianapolis are available for folks that have always had that dream of home ownership, and now INHP makes it possible for them. So if you could, just an overview of the organization itself.
Sure. Thanks, Jake. Thanks for having us on. This is my third time. I'm looking forward to being with you again.
You're a vet? Yeah.
I am a vet, and I'm looking forward to having our rookie, Will, with us. He's actually the real expert. I don't have as much to offer as he does, but I'll try to give you a little bit of overview as you asked. Really, INHP started back in the late 80s. Like you said, we're almost 30 years old now. We're an independent nonprofit. But what was happening at the time was there was this real friction in the community. There were a lot of families in lower income neighborhoods, homeowners in lower income neighborhoods that were getting cited for health code violations. But when they'd go to the banks to try to get financing to be able to take care of those repairs, they weren't able to access mortgage financing. And so community activists really went to Mayor Hudnut and said, Mayor, something's got to give here. Either you need to stop citing us, or we need to get the financial institutions to really help give us the financing so we can make these repairs to our homes and keep our homes in good shape. And what happened was Mayor Hudnut created a task force. A wide breadth of community leaders came together, financial institutions, neighborhood leaders, community or government leaders, and they spent a year really diving into this issue of what can we do to remedy this situation. And in the end, they decided they needed an intermediary organization, and that's INHP. We were formed that way. But that organization was to really work with the community, also work with the financial institutions, sort of bridge that gap and work with the government to bridge the gap so that families that lived in these neighborhoods could get access to mortgages to be able to fix those necessary items, but also to be able to provide financing for families that wanted to come to those neighborhoods, because not everybody lived in the neighborhoods at the time, but people want to become homeowners, and so we played that, and that was a vital role that we played. So really, what do we do now? Fast forward 30 years, what do? We help people to become and remain long-term successful homeowners. And we stress the long-term successful, Jake. We've talked about this before. It's not good enough to just get into a house. You got to be able to have the skills and knowledge to be able to sustain it over the long haul. And that's what we do. We have programs that are tailored to people that are looking to explore their potential for homeownership. We can help them unlock that potential, and whether you come to us and you actually are ready from a credit and down payment perspective, or if you come to us and you've got some barriers to homeownership, maybe you've got some credit challenges or you have a lack of down payment, we can work with those families one-on-one for up to 24 months to help them create that plan to get to where they can access that home. So again, helping people to become and remain long-term successful homeowners. But we also, as you know, Jake, we do have programs to help folks that are existing homeowners, people that are low-income families that have emergency or essential repair needs to their home, but they can't get access to mortgage financing. They can't get access to the funds to be able to do those repairs. And it might be because they just don't have the cash flow to be able to do it. It's a low-income, fixed-income senior, for example. They can't afford a payment, but they've got a roof that's leaking. That's a great example. And so what we do is we have what we call the Essential Repair or Accessibility Deferred Loan Program. It's a no-interest loan. Doesn't require any interest. It doesn't require any payments, so it's obviously very affordable, but allows them to do those essential repairs so that they can maintain safe and affordable occupancy of their home. And so that's something that we do a lot of to help homeowners, low-income homeowners in our community.
And obviously this is a great program for the city itself, because what we're talking about is occupancy in homes, and that betters neighborhoods. It allows people to take more pride not only in their home, but then collectively pride throughout a neighborhood, which, you know, it goes without saying, is beneficial to everybody within the city. Now, Rob Evans, Chief Operating Officer and Executive VP for INHP. Their website is INHP.org. We're going to do one of my famous hypotheticals here, okay? So we'll say John. We'll begin with John is somebody who has always dreamed of home ownership, going back to what you're talking about. But maybe it's not even so much that John doesn't have, let's say, the credit history or the available funds, but just John doesn't even have that roadmap. He is convinced, gosh, I don't even know where to begin with this. So for beginners, for the first step of this, for John to get all of those ducks in a row, if you will, INHP, he finds out about it how, and he finds what things available to him.
So the first thing John should do is go to INHP.org, and there he can start to understand all the resources we have available. And he could register to access our services, and he would be able to sit down with one of our specialists to determine where is he in that spectrum. And in this case, it sounds like John has his credit in good shape. He has access to funds for down payment, but he needs to understand the process. And so he'd work with one of our loan origination team to understand what options from a mortgage perspective are available to him, and he would get to choose which one's right for him. But he could also take our homebuyer education class, which is an 8-hour HUD certified class that teaches you all the specifics about the mortgage or the home buying process, taught by subject matter experts. So he could do that. But John could also spend some time with our homeownership advisors, and that's the team that really could create a roadmap for him to be able to understand the process, what he needs to do, how to really prepare for when life happens, because all of us know life does happen, and just because you've achieved that homeownership doesn't necessarily mean that you're prepared for life when life happens. So we would work with them to be able to create that plan to have reserves sitting there and really make sure that that mortgage he's getting into, it's an affordable mortgage, and that John really understands the process, what he can expect from the market, but also what the market and the community would expect of John as a homeowner.
Okay, and that brings us perfectly now to Will, because we can talk about, let's say John has been in the home now, we'll just say 10 years. And all of a sudden one day he notices, wait a minute, I've got a water stain on the floor. Oh, I've got a leaking roof. I need repairs for this. Gosh, I hadn't planned for this. This is a curveball that life, as you talked about, Rob, threw me that I wasn't expecting. So we bring in Will Scherb, who is the specification writer and construction project manager for INHP, and they have the essential repair or accessibility modification loan. So, Will, let's use John as our analogy here, and thanks for coming in. John would be able to get those repairs done how in terms of using INHP to get that information, and also INHP would be able to find for him those that are doing the work in what way or what folks that they work with.
So part of the process is that he would come through one of the specialists and then be referred to the rehab department. We would then take his repairs, and I would go out and look at his repairs and say, okay, is it just a leak, or does he require the entire roof to be replaced? At that point, a specification's written. It goes back to the processing team. During that time, we're also looking at contractors. INHP has a listing of contractors, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 contractors that we've used for a period of probably 10 years or more. And most of those are general contractors and a well-trusted source.
Here's a really dumb question, and I'm known for those, Will, so this is nothing new for me. But another analogy, for example, sometimes you go to take your car in, and the mechanic looks at it, and you know that you need new brakes. And he looks at it and says, hey, just so you know, you do need new brakes. We can get that taken care of. But I'm also looking here, and I see something that's coming down the pike here. You're 2 months away from also needing, new struts or whatever it may be. So you decide, okay, let's kind of combo that, and you do everything you can on the car to get me back. Does the same thing happen in terms of INHP, and you go out and you're assessing for someone what all is there in terms of, in John's case, the roof? So he is going through the process of the essential repair or accessibility modification loan. Will you also kind of examine other areas of the house to see if it's not beneficial for him to go ahead and kind of roll together a couple of different things so that he is preemptive in terms of being able to have the house for a longer term?
Of course. If there's things like a door that won't latch, or broken windows, or out-of-date GFIs, or electrical panels that are in need of update, yes, we'll look at the house as a whole to kind of decide, is there things that can also be rolled in while we're here. After I write the specification, it goes out to a third-party inspector. And that third-party inspector is going to go and look at it and say, yep, you did everything. You got a spec written to address all the repairs. Or, no, I think you missed something. Let's add this.
One of the things I would think, Will, here has to be a huge advantage for folks in using INHP. And again, the website for Indianapolis Neighborhood Housing Partnership is INHP.org. But people always, I think, kind of feel like they're moving down the hallway without the lights on when it comes to this. They don't really know what's in front of them and what to expect. I guess you kind of take that out of the equation because you have, for folks, the database of the contractors you're using and the different funds that are available. It kind of all comes together where you're just guiding folks down that hallway and suddenly turning on the flashlight for them, right?
Correct. The rehab department will really answer any questions the client has and help them through the entire process. So most of the clients who come through the door that work with us, we touch them in the very beginning, we touch them in the very end. We're there from the day that we evaluate the repairs all the way to the time that we close out the loan. All the repairs are inspected and are complete.
Now, Rob, in terms of this, when it comes to the essential repair or accessibility modification loan from INHP, website INHP.org, one of the questions that popped up to me was, if someone either, let's say, for example, someone is in a home, one of these unexpected things pops up, they are in a different financial situation than they were when they originally bought the home, and so therefore they are not an INHP existing beneficiary, if you will. So can somebody get that sort of a loan if they did not go through INHP for their original mortgage on the home itself? Absolutely.
It's not a requirement to have gotten your purchase money mortgage through INHP. Our loan programs are really geared for anyone that's a homeowner in Marion County, an existing homeowner that is a low-income family, and really the income requirements are that you're at or below 80% of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's area median income. And so to give you some context behind that, if you're a family of one in Marion County, that would be your income would be at or below $39,150. Let's say you're a family of four, because many people have children, then if your income is at or below $55,900, then you could be eligible for this program from an income perspective. But it's absolutely not a requirement that you had your original mortgage through INHP. We're here to help anyone in Marion County that's a homeowner, that's a low-income family that has these essential repair needs. And to carry on a little bit of what Will is talking about, I think one of the real values is that you're not out there doing it by yourself, right? INHP is there to walk alongside you and to provide access to not only the financial, the money part to be able to get those repairs done, but to have trusted, qualified staff, our rehab team, but also trusted, qualified contractors, and then having a third-party independent inspector to come alongside and say, first, does the original specification, does that really remedy the issues that you're having? Second, when the work is complete, has the work been done in a quality, workmanlike manner to code? That's a very important piece, and many families, many people that come to INHP, they don't know what to do, right? They need these essential repairs to be done. They don't know how to go about the process, and that's where our team is just right alongside you as that trusted resource, and that's where Will and the team do such a fantastic job of working alongside that family throughout the entire process, and really takes a lot of the heartburn out of it for people. One of the other things, too, that I wanted to elaborate on, Rob Evans is here along with Will Scherb. They're talking about INHP. The website is INHP.org. But somebody might be listening to this and hear the numbers you threw out and think to themselves, well, I'm not eligible. But the website itself still has resources that anyone can use, right, in terms of whether it be advice or just, a credit calendar to make sure that you're on pace.
there are things there for everybody throughout Marion County.
There are things for everybody throughout Marion County. Go to our website, INHP.org, and just take a look at the resources that are available, or give us a call, 317-610-HOME or 317-610-6443. And talk to one of our 4663. Sorry about that. But talk to one of our staff, and we can really walk you through resources that are available, understand what your situation is, and see how we might be able to help you.
610-HOME is the telephone number, right?
That is correct.
You know, Rob, another thing about INHP that I think is really cool, because I've seen it just in being around you and the staff. When the thought process is, as we talked about, you have areas of the city that are lower income, that have houses that are not being occupied. And the original goal in spirit was, let's make sure that those homes are becoming filled, because that obviously makes for a safer and just a better neighborhood. But yet, you can see that the reward in it comes really just in seeing the looks on people's faces and the pride they have when they become that homeowner, because some of them may have thought to themselves, I never imagined this was possible for me. But there are dozens and countless and hundreds of stories where you guys have gone and said, here's a couple, or here's an individual, or here are a couple of people, that a veteran, you do a lot with veterans, that they didn't think this was possible, and here they are now, and they have something to take pride in every day. And that, I think, in itself, in a simple form, is actually what makes it all worth it, right?
It is absolutely what makes it all worth it. And Jake, you were so kind to join us for our community breakfast back in June. You got to see firsthand families that had gone through our program, achieved that goal of homeownership. We get to see that every single day, and it's rewarding itself. But sometimes we forget about the other side, which is those that come to us that were already the homeowner, they had already achieved that, but they have this repair need. We get thank you letters and cards all the time, and I want to share, just one scenario with you to show you how this can really impact us and really change somebody's life. We say it's an essential repair or a disability modification. Sometimes people come to us and they need to be able to have an accessibility modification. And one person in particular, she sent us a thank you card. And she said, for the first time in over 4 years, I've been able to now go into my basement and do my own laundry for myself. And what we had done for her is we helped her get a chairlift to go from her main living level down to the basement. So think about someone that for over 4 years, she couldn't go down to her basement and do her laundry by herself. She was dependent on somebody else to come in and take care of her laundry. Those are the kinds of things that happen at INHP, and we get to be the beneficiaries of every day.
In terms of the number of people that have, really for either one of you guys here, that have benefited from this, I don't even know if there's a way to put a number on it, but from 1988 to now, whether it be folks that have become first-time homeowners or folks that have simply been able to utilize INHP to make sure that they're getting that essential repair, is there any way to know the number of people that have benefited from this in the Indianapolis area?
I think the number is over 30,000 people have utilized our services over time. I don't have a breakdown with regard to how many went into the repairs versus...
It's pretty significant, though.
It's a very large number of families. They've used one or more of our services. Either they've come to us to use our education and our financing to purchase the home, or for those really needed repairs to make sure they could stay in that home. A lot of people, and we're so proud to be a part of this community.
610-HOME is the telephone number. That's 610, obviously 317 area code, 610-HOME, or you can always visit the website, INHP.org. Whether you're talking about just simply trying to get your finances in order towards becoming a homeowner for the first time, or whether you need that essential repair or accessibility modification loan, INHP is there for you. Rob, obviously, working as the Chief Operations Officer and Executive Vice President. Will Scherb, the Specification Writer and Construction Project Manager for those home improvements, doing great work. Just as I always say, bettering the lives in the neighborhoods throughout Indianapolis, which was the exact vision some 30 years ago for INHP. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure, and certainly look forward. Rob, also thanks for the work you guys did for veterans recently, including at the Indy 11 game, having a lot of veterans come out. I know that was a lot of fun for the organization, and also just kind of unlocking those codes for veterans to make sure that they know all of the things that are available to them in terms of the benefits from a veteran standpoint towards home ownership. INHP does that as well, and the website is INHP.org. Gentlemen, a pleasure as always. Look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Jake, thanks for having us on.
You've been listening.